What is up, Hilltop kids? It's so fantastic to see you. Happy Art Day, and welcome once again back to the art room with me, Miss Hans. It's totally great to see you today, and I hope you're doing awesome. And if you aren't doing awesome, you're about to be doing awesome because I have a super fun lesson planned for you today. Today, we're going to continue talking about photography. Last time we did an awesome project where we got to find letters all around our home to make the letters of our name. Today, we're going to learn about a technique in photography and design called rule of thirds. What is it called? Rule of thirds. When I say rule of, you say thirds. Rule of. You guys are so good. I can hear you all the way from here. So let me tell you a little bit more and we'll show you some examples and get right to your assignment. Here we go. Boom, boom, boom. I want to present it. I want to present to the children. Where's my present button? I bet all of you are just watching right now like, Miss Hans, it's right there. Oh my gosh, it is. Look at that. All right, so let's talk about photography and rule of thirds now that Miss Hans has her slideshow together. So let's first start with explaining what the rule of thirds is. In any kind of image, that could be a photograph like this little cheetah down here. It could be a graphic design or even a logo, a drawing, a painting. The rule of thirds is like a guideline. It's a way to arrange the things that are in your picture. You know, like if I want to take a picture of my birdhouse, whoa, Legos just fell out of that because that's how I roll. If I wanted to take a picture of this birdhouse right now, I could put it right in the very middle of the screen, or I could move it over here, or I could take the picture from up here, or maybe turn it to the side. There's lots of different ways to compose your image or arrange your image. In rule of thirds, when you're deciding how to frame your photograph, putting your subject, that means the thing you're photographing, putting your subject a little bit to the left or right side can make it a little bit more interesting. This is not actually a rule of photography or design. It's more just like a cool tip that you can try to use to make your photos look even more awesome. I don't know why I'm still holding this. Let's set this down. All right, so for example, we see two images here. Check them out. The first image has this really cool rock landform right in the very middle of the photograph, as you can see. In the next image, we see that this rock is a little more to the side. You can see it even lines up with these lines that have been drawn on the image here. These lines are like imaginary lines that the artist kind of sees in their head that can help them decide exactly where to put things. So if you imagine that your screen is split, 3 sections going vertically, so 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna go to the next photo to show this, that one. There's 1 column, 2 column, the 3rd column right here. So we're splitting it in thirds vertically, but then we're also splitting this image in thirds horizontally. So this top section is 1, this next section is 2, and this bottom section is 3. So there's 3 sections going this way, but there's also 3 sections going this way. When you split the photograph into those kind of sections, you can see how the rock lines up with one of those lines. The other thing that lines up with those lines is the horizon line. You guys can see that right along here. The line between the sky and the ground is also on one of those thirds lines, which just kind of makes the photo look a little bit more interesting in many people's opinion. So this next image is a great example. Instead of being right in the very middle, the tree is a little to the side. So that way, instead of just focusing on the thing right in the center of the tree, if this tree was right in the center, we would only really focus on that. But when we move the tree over a little bit, we start to notice all the other huge amounts of space in this desert. So not only do we get to really focus on the tree, but we also start to notice just what a vast landscape this is. Here's another great example of a Arctic wolf, because why not? The wolf is down here in the bottom quadrant or bottom third where these thirds lines intersect. And then the rest of the image is nice and open. So instead of being right in the middle, nice and big, right in the middle, we've got it kind of down and to the side a little bit. Can make the image more interesting. Even when you don't have a subject, like a dog or a cheetah in your photograph or a tree, you can still use the rule of thirds. Many landscape photographers or people who like to take pictures of a big open space of land use the rule of thirds. Instead of having the horizon line exactly halfway through the image, so half the picture is sky and half the picture is ground, they move it down a little bit. So in this photo, for example, having the ground or the horizon line up with that bottom third line here really makes us notice just how big and beautiful the sky is. And you can do it the other way around too. You can have the sky just take up the top section or top row, and the ground take up the two sections below it. So you're really emphasizing just how long that road is going off into the distance. Here's another great example where the water of this ocean is taking up the bottom two columns or bottom two rows, and the top for the sky is just taking up one row of the image or 1/3 of the image. So it's not just photographers that use rule of thirds, it's also painters and illustrators and designers. This painting is by one of our favorites. When I say Vincent, you say Van Gogh. Vincent. Vincent. Oh, you guys are so good. So Vincent van Gogh made this beautiful painting of boats on a beach. And as we can see, he lined up his boats so that they're over to the left a little bit. The boats are not right in the very middle. They're a little bit to the side. Makes it more interesting. Same with this painting by J.M.W. Turner, another boat picture. Why so many boats, Miss Hans? Maybe she wishes she was on a vacation. No, she wants to be here teaching art to you. Yes, you. I'm looking at you. I see you. So in this painting, we see that J.M.W. Turner has his line between the sky and the water. It's a little blurry, but it's once again down in that bottom third. It kind of lines up with this bottom line here. Now in the real painting, obviously, he didn't put these big white lines in, but those white lines kind of help us see how he decided to put his picture together. You can also put interesting parts of your picture, make them line up where those lines crisscross in the little crissy-crossy bits right here where those lines cross. So for example, this super cool dude who is kayaking off of a waterfall? I don't know. We see that some of the important parts of the picture line up with those intersections. So usually when humans see a picture of another human, we look right at the face. And when we look at his face, we see it's right up close to those intersecting lines or those crissy-crossy lines. We see that his boat and the horizon line both almost line up with this bottom third line here. And the part where his oar touches the water, which is another really important part of the picture because he's right in the middle of rowing, that also almost lines up with this intersecting crissy-crossy line too. So important parts of the picture can be put on those intersecting spots as well. Not every picture has to follow the rule of thirds. Like I said, it's not a rule even. It's really just kind of a cool tip to make your photos look even more awesome. So we're going to try it out ourselves. Your assignment is to take 5 photos using the rule of thirds. So instead of putting your subject right in the middle, like if I'm taking a picture of my Diet Coke can, love you Diet Coke, instead of putting it right in the middle, I might move it over to the side a little bit. You could try taking pictures of your toys, your family, the view from your front door, or if you go on a walk outside, it's really fun to take landscape pictures with rule of thirds. You could even take pictures of your food. It's really up to you. This photo here was taken by me just about a week ago on my walk around the lake. So if you can go on a walk with your family maybe around sunset time. That could be a really fun time to go take photos too. Some tips now for taking your photographs, because we all want to make the photograph look really nice. You need it to be focused. That means that none of the picture is blurry, or at least your subject, the thing that you're taking the picture of, isn't blurry. To do that, you tap the screen, you tap the screen right on that subject, like you can see the finger doing right down below, and that will make a little yellow box appear. That shows you which area of your photo will be focused. That means not blurry. My second tip for you is to take lots of photos. The more photos you take, the more options of greatness you have to choose from. So if I take 5 photos of my Coke can, maybe one of my photos, it was turned a little sideways, and I actually want it to be turned so you can see the red stripe. Or maybe I want to try it a little closer up, or maybe even closer, or maybe a little farther away. So kind of play around with each image and then pick your best one. After you have taken your 5 best photos of 5 different things, I can't wait to see them. You don't have to upload them, but if you want to, you can put them on Schoology, Artsonia, or Seesaw, whatever works best for you. I can't wait to see your art, and I'm so excited for the next time we get to hang out and make some more cool stuff together. I'll talk to you later, Hilltoppers. Have an absolutely fantastic, magnificent, wonderful, ridiculously awesome time making your art. See ya.